And welcome to the Daily Space Weather, folks. Congratulations on realizing the channel exists. Today we ain't got no geospace magnetosphere movies for you. We can show you some still images. They're kind of old, from about 6 o'clock Universal time here. No moving pictures available on geospace magnetosphere movies or on ground magnetic perturbations. So there's what was going on with Earth's magnetic moment from the ground at about 6 o'clock Universal time. Nothing to write home about. Nothing too exciting. Let's continue on as we've got coronal mass ejections, coronal holes, new sunspots, and more to cover. Planetary K-index at 1. It's a measurement of global geomagnetism. KP1. And let's go to the real-time solar wind. To see there was a coronal mass ejection strike. So check it out right here. You can see all of the defining features here. A change in the plasma temperature, check. A change in the solar wind speed, check. And a change in the solar wind density, indeed. All showing up there at the same time. The signature of a CME, or coronal mass ejection. So that did bring the solar wind density up to about 9 protons per cubic centimeter and the speed up to about 530 kilometers a second. It was short-lived. It was a minor CME strike that I don't think anybody was expecting. Conditions have since subsided greatly. Now we are at only about 2.5 protons per cubic centimeter for the solar wind density, solar wind speed about 380 kilometers per second. So quite slow and very, very diffuse for the solar wind. We are expecting some changes coming in about 3 days as a result of a coronal hole high-speed stream. We'll see what happens with that. First, let's take a look at the heliospheric current sheet before we talk about coronal holes and sunspots and flare probabilities and so on. So here's the top view ecliptic plane field plot. And the plasma that comes out of the sun, folks, is oriented to one pole or the other. Right now, Earth is in a south pole oriented plasma sheet. The other one is north pole. That one's shown in green right there. We may see some changes coming here as we've got new sunspots having risen in the southern hemisphere. It's exciting stuff, and it is nothing like a grand solar minimum. So we did see this sudden dip here in the GOES magnetometers. Could be erroneous data, could be caused by things like cosmic ray strikes, or perhaps some sort of a bake-out for the device. Let us know if you have any theories as to what would have caused such a sudden dip there. It looks a little bit artificial with this flat bottom. So could be erroneous data there on the GOES magnetometers. It was just before an arc jet moment, so perhaps the, it looks like the GOES 16 didn't really do any plasma thrusters, as the GOES 17 must have, because that arc jet moment is turning on of the plasma thrusters. And when you create plasma around a magnetometer, you can affect the readings. That's why it shows up as an arc jet moment. Anyway, moving on to the line of sight ecliptic plane field plot. Again, when the plasma comes out of the sun and spreads out into the greater solar system, the plasma is oriented to one pole or the other. And so you can see over here, there's your north pole current sheet. Here's your south pole current sheet. It's a tale of two current sheets. And let's move on to coronal holes, as we've got some well-defined ones. The sun looking a little bit like Spawn here. Here's Spawn's eyes. You can see that. Looking a little bit like Spawn there. But in any case, this is showing the sun's B field in blue. And you can see these rather well-defined south pole-oriented coronal holes shown here in red, rotating in. Let's take a look at it visually in ultraviolet. That's 193 angstroms, one of the many species of ionized iron covered by the Solar Dynamics Observatory. That well-defined coronal hole, again, that is a south pole-oriented one. We do have coronal mass ejections to cover and new sunspots. So we've got some new sunspots having just risen in the southeast. Some prominences happening in the southwest and the southeast. So it may seem boring. It's certainly not. The likelihood of flare is still pretty high here. And these new sunspots are only alpha class as far as I can tell. Perhaps tune into our bonus features segment on Twitch to see the most in-depth analysis of that. Anyway, again, likelihood of significant flares still quite high, and the overall X-ray output of the sun is around a C-class level. No flares required for a C-class X-ray output. A great band through which to view solar flares. And those solar flares are X-rays, folks. Don't get solar flares and coronal mass ejections confused. Solar flares are photons. Coronal mass ejections are protons, diffuse gas. Diffuse gas is nothing like light. Hopefully that helps you in the physics. And we've only seen some minor flaring here, so. Let's look at sunspots. And there is 1700 angstroms. See quite a few umbrae here. And believe it or not, these sunspots are more likely to produce major flares as detected from Earth, or the space around Earth, I should say. As they approach the limb, they're more likely to produce large flares at the limbs. It all has to do with the angular nature of emission spectra. We won't get into it in the daily space weather video. We'll have to save that for a heliophysics cosmology segment. Again, we've got new sunspots having risen. 2 new groups down here. One of those is going to be known as Sunspot 3000. By the way, if you enjoy the content, press like and subscribe. We do have playlists with all kinds of things besides daily space weather videos. There are terms defined, and smashomash.org presents the Sun cosmology segments, over 240 videos in the cosmology segments. Thanks to our new subscribers, etc. Tell your friends and foes about the channel. We are not sure that the algorithms have been helpful. But thanks to all of you viewers who indeed have been helpful. Visit smashomash.com. As we welcome you to the Neo-Renaissance, you can find all kinds of links to our social media accounts there. If you want to donate via Patreon or PayPal or become a member of the Smash team, you can find links all on that page. If you click on Smash-O Merch, you may find our featured product of the day. It's Universum Liberate. Are you sick of the Earth? Are you sick of the special forces not doing their jobs? Have you noticed all kinds of bureaucracies not doing their jobs? Have you joined the Galactic Federation? Have you noticed the Galactic Federation's not doing its job? Has it not brought peace to the galaxy? Well, Universum Liberate. To quote Geddy Lee, if I could wave my magic wand, I'd set everybody free. So wear it loud and proud. The motto of the Galactic Federation Special Forces, Universum Liberate. If you don't know what it means, you've probably got the internet. You can look it up. Speaking of the internet, did you know that big tech can't break the internet, but the internet could break big tech? Yeah, if you're not on Twitter, get an account. It's a great day to do so. Is Elon Musk going to fix censorship on the internet? I somehow doubt it, but in any case, it could be a better day for things like free speech. Are you a free speech purist? Let us know in the comments. Let us know if you're a free speech purist, folks. Do you consider the appropriate response to bad speech more good speech to change hearts and minds? Is that what you think is a thing? Thanks to our Twitch followers. We're approaching 150 whopping followers on Twitch. I believe we've got content that nobody else is creating on the channel. Twitch.tv/SmashAmash. We've already put up 2 posts for Gold and Silver Smash Team members. If you join the Smash Team, join at the Gold annual paid-up subscription level. It's the best value. It entitles you to some complimentary merch. So we haven't seen any spikes in the proton flux here. No real surprise. We've only seen some C-class flaring over the past 24 hours. There were 2 M-class flares early yesterday morning. Since then, just some C-class flares and a sort of a C-class background X-ray level. Some flares occurring as we record the video here. They're pretty minor. And let's take a look at 94 angstroms.